to do the work of the water system and this board. Our community is rocked and shocked by the recent homicides, and today the announcement of a 14-year-old missing from her home in Pace, shot and burned by 2 young juveniles. We call attention to Proverbs 18:10, that God offers us security in the name of the Lord, and in Him we are safe. In Jesus' name, amen.
Amen. Please join me in the pledge to our flag. I pledge allegiance to the flag
of the United States of America
and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. All right, so we have 1, 2, 3, 4. We have a quorum. Audio and video recorders are in use. Please fill out the member sign-up form sheet to address the board. Proxy and absentee voting is available now and ends on January 7th at 4 p.m. First item of unfinished business is the Club at Hidden Creek budget.
Yeah, so what I'm planning to do tonight, I'm not going to go through these in as much detail as the first time, since we've kind of heard that before, but I do want to highlight anything that's changed since the versions that you last saw. The messy budget did not change at all. We don't expect to spend much time on that at all tonight. But to start with the club budget, the main change was, if you recall, at the last month's board meeting, the board adopted a resolution to modify the way we handle the Sprayfield expenses. They were coming in as income, but for tax reasons, we've decided to classify that as a contribution, which will go to the balance sheet on the income side. So it really has to be taken out of this revenue section on the first page of the club's budget. But to account for it, we are showing it if you just flip ahead to the last page of the budget, you'll see it at the bottom, and that's how we have accounted for it. So it's not part of the operational profit loss anymore. It's taken out of that, but it is shown at the bottom there. So that's the main difference with this budget, is that change. Now, of course, the expenses that we talked about as part of that resolution are already accounted for in the budget. They were already there, so there was no change to that. So that's the main change on the club's budget.
On the very last page, Jeff?
Very last page, yeah, you can see that the contribution of HNWS.
Second to last.
Second to last.
Okay.
I'm sorry, the very last page of the budget. The CIP is the last page. I apologize there.
So which line item again? On that very next to the last page?
Yeah, if you start at the very bottom of that page and come up second to last.
Contribution from Holly.
So you see, so that line item,
Gotcha, see it.
114,000, was moved from the front page of revenue to here. Because as we go forward in 2026, that money that amounts will not show up on the income statement each month.
And that total contribution has been reduced from $190,000 this year to $114,000 for
That's correct.
2026.
Mr. Kirkland, this is Will Dunaway. I'm on Zoom. I hate to interrupt, but when we announce quorum, could we get on the record who are the directors who are present and who are the directors joining by electronic means, and to affirm that they can hear and be heard so that we can document quorum?
Will, we have 4 directors present, myself, Rob, Pam, and Carmen.
Perfect.
We have nobody else.
I just wanted to make sure since 4 is what we needed. Thank you.
Any questions on the budget for Hidden Creek?
Go ahead.
I have one. It says 2025 budget at the end. Is that supposed to be 2026 or?
No, so, yeah, look, I should clarify that. So the version that was sent out for the last workshop did not show the 2025 budget number.
Okay.
So that last column is purely shown for comparison's sake. The
Okay.
total column is the 2026 budget
26.
number. That's what
Okay.
the total is. That very last column to the right is purely so you can just see what we budgeted for each of
Okay,
those items in
comparison,
2025. Yeah,
okay,
that's right.
all right, thank you.
I thought that it was interesting that we're projecting a decrease in the food sales. And
Yeah, there was a lot of thought put into the, kind of the revenue projections, and you have to understand that the 2025 numbers were helped by two major things: great weather and some courses being closed this summer that directed some traffic. So we feel like it was almost I don't want to say, well, it was a great year in terms of revenue, but we thought there was some things that, to predict higher than that might be a little too aggressive. So I think that's why the numbers are fairly similar to the 2025 numbers. I'm not sure why the food is a little bit lower, but that's the main reasoning behind that.
but you're projecting $13,000 more to be made in the pro shop, so it's contrasted by that, correct?
That's what it says. That would be a question for Trey on the specifics of the, oh, there he is, on cue. Trey, we were talking a little bit about the revenue, when the question came up on the comparing 2025 budget to 2026, the food sales was a little bit lower than 25, but pro shop being a little higher. So I think there was just some questions about how we did those projections on some of those individual items.
You're talking about the 2025 budget to 2026?
Yes, that's correct. Director Reynolds asked about the food sales item in particular. And beer sales is slightly lower. When I explained that, what I tried to explain was we felt that 2025 with the weather and some of the courses being closed in the area, that kind of gave us a really kind of a high bar there that we may not hit next year in terms of some of those figures, and that was the reasoning. But you may want to expand a little bit more on that.
Yeah, so the 2025 budget, I had increased the food and beverage sales with the expectation of having the GPS, come, February. And so with the increased sales, because you're able to order off hole 8 or hole 9, it would speed up the process. And yes, hopefully we'll have GPS next year, and that'll help us increase the food and beverage sales and hopefully beat, what our current budget is. But until we get the GPS and until we see how much of an increase we'll be getting with those extra sales, those extra purchases, the quicker turnaround, I didn't want to go ahead and forecast that and then either not get GPS or not see the increased sales because of the easier access to order the food.
And then you got a $25,000 decrease in event rentals.
Mm-hmm. So that's more on par to what this year has been. So
Gotcha.
that's why I didn't want to go do 76,000 and then possibly do similar to what we did this year. So it's a little bit of, I think, an increase from what we're on par to do this year, but it's not as high of a budgeted number as last year.
My question on this is, you have an increase in greens fees, but you have a decrease in cart rentals.
From the budget standpoint, so the way our rounds of golf work, if you pay $50 for your round or you pay $79 for your round, $22 of that dollar fee goes towards the cart fee, and then the difference goes to greens fee when you're a public golfer. And so that means that we're going to be doing higher volume of, a higher dollar rate. So our rate is going to continue to increase, which means our green fee number is going to go up. Doesn't necessarily mean our cart fee number will go up. We have seen a couple of our members that would pay as they go for their carts have switched to either a cart plan or they started walking more. And obviously, if they do the cart plan, that cart plan goes towards the dues category, but doesn't go towards the cart revenue. And so you'd see some decrease in the member rounds with the cart fee because now they're paying us for the monthly cart plan or trail fee.
At the risk of being unpopular here, which has never been my forte, the GPS 48,000, that is about, that's a 5-year contract or a 4-year contract?
It was a 5 years.
5-year. Before we enjoin in a 5-year contract, do we have performance parameters, requirements, and any metrics before we get into something similar on the water system side, the software that is explained as not performing correctly, there's no fallback, there's no consideration from the company, there's no legal recourse. Before we get into a lengthy contract, could we go year to year on this and see how it goes?
I don't think they'd be willing to do that because there's an initial, you're getting the equipment initially, it's brand new. I don't think they want to come get it after 1 year. We can ask them.
Well, what is the enhancement that it provides? How much more revenue is it going to bring in? Have I missed that somewhere?
Yeah, so last year it got
The
presented
advertising.
about it.
We
There's
talked
different
about it.
values. So like on a busy day right now, I have to bring in a second marshal for 8 hours, like on Fridays and Saturdays. Plus I block off 2 tea times roughly. So that is $300 times 2 that I'm losing in revenue. Plus I'm adding 8 hours worth of sales or of expense for labor. So there is that. There's supposed to be an increase of revenue for the events and also food and beverage because of using our in-screen marketing. But I didn't want to forecast that in case we didn't necessarily get it. Now, talking with other people that have this program, their value to them is being able to see where their golfers are, controlling where their carts go, which helps with wear and tear, which will hopefully not just that first year, but 2, 3, 4, 5th year, the wear and tear that the golf course could prevent would be a savings. So it's not just the revenue enhancement, it's more about being able to control your carts.
If somebody goes off course, you know who it was and what happened. So you can
Yes,
try
and
to-
also, like, I don't know how many times this year we've had carts that people would call us in the neighborhood and say, hey, your golf cart's driving over your green right now. And luckily it wasn't severe damage, it could have been, but by being able to lock those carts, like our carts down, we can, prevent them from doing severe damage, or possibly driving close to a bunker in a green where they could potentially flip that cart into our bunker and have a liability issue. So
You could set it up, Carmen, where the carts actually, you won't be able to drive in certain areas. They
It'll
actually
stop.
slow down, stop and start beeping.
It's kind of like geofencing.
It is.
Yeah,
it is.
it is.
Right.
Exactly what it is.
Yeah.
Right.
So, there,
I'm just a little confused because they haven't decided, this board hasn't decided after the Eglin reuse what they're going to do with the course. And it just seems a little premature to make these commitments, not knowing that and not knowing what the value of the course is. That's my position. Okay.
We had a meeting about it, you were there, and we
We,
discussed all
we
that.
do have we have board approval to proceed with this. The hesitation was informal and was not board action, so if the board wants to revisit that, they'd have to do it formally.
And I wasn't in agreement with that, so I do remember that.
It's already passed. We're good.
Okay. Any other questions on the 2026 Hidden Creek budget? We're not approving anything tonight, right?
Right.
That'll be at the December meeting,
That's
is that
that, yes.
correct? Okay. Guess we'll move on to the next one, which is the messy budget, and nothing has changed on that, but in case somebody has thought some more about it.
There was a question that came up from the public wanting to know what the water cost per month and year is for the club at Hidden Creek, and I couldn't answer that, Mr. President.
The water cost per month?
Yes, for
Is that
the,
under expenses?
When you say water cost, what do you mean?
I don't know what they meant. I thought they meant what the water bill is for the course.
It's pretty low. I mean, it's,
And I couldn't
like
really
a-
figure it out
I think it's
here.
$150 a month.
You talking
This
about
is not,
like,
this is not what would get sprayed on the course, so this would be the water used inside the building. Surely they're not
That's what I
asking
think
about
that they're
that.
thinking. So $150.
For the water used inside the building, that's a very low water bill.
Okay. Last question on the club at Hidden Creek. Do they extend to us the special use validation for the golf course land itself in assessing the property taxes for that?
When you say special use validation, what do you mean?
There are 3 categories for the land. For golf courses, they usually, it's in the lowest category, almost synonymous with ag land at about $3,500 an acre. So while I was looking at all this, I came across that and I thought I would ask that question because the property taxes here are $47,000. And then there's a separate item for real estate taxes, which are the buildings.
Right. And that one little piece of parcel, piece of property we own.
So the reason I asked is because we had a review over at the Turtle Center, and it came out that we had been charged $5,200 more than we needed to be for a certain category. So I thought it was worth asking.
Yeah, let me go on the property appraiser and confirm what we're currently classified as.
And it's called a special use valuation for golf course land itself.
Okay.
Thank you.
Got everything on Hidden Creek.
Thank you so much.
Moving on to municipal engineering. David, I can turn this over to you now, I guess.
I'll let you keep going, because I'm trying to get caught up, so,
That's all right.
yeah, just keep going, I
Yeah,
appreciate it,
so
Mark, thank you.
to reiterate, yeah, we did not have any changes on the messy budget, so it should be the same as what you saw in November.
I would make the same comment I made before when we reviewed the messy budget, and that was as corporations, as companies contract with their travel and their conference attendance to reduce expenditures, is it possible to be particularly sensitive to that issue where one person could go, bring the information back, rather than have exorbitant travel expenses, is my question.
It's certainly possible. I think we got, between the two items, $16,000. We've got a couple of engineers, a couple of CAD techs that go to a couple of conferences a year, so I'm not sure that that's really an outsized number.
Well, he talked about that big conference in New Orleans. I mean, enough said about that. I don't understand why 4 to 5 people have to go. If we're really looking at zero growth and wanting to contract and stay within the confines here.
But sometimes, don't they have
True.
trainings and things at that
Yeah,
conference?
so they have two things. It's usually, the show you're referencing is a large product exhibition that's in the main hall, and then it has technical sessions where you go and listen to a speaker talk, and you get, CEUs or PDH hours if you're an engineer or operator. So there's a lot of value in them, and I don't think they're excessive with it. I don't think we're excessive with it, but really helps you stay up to speed with the technology and what's going on in the industry.
And plus networking,
Absolutely.
with other companies and other people. So I don't think it's that exorbitant.
Actually, it did cut back the budget, and they don't, $2,000 from last year. And it looks like they're not even gonna make the
Yeah, they're not gonna
10,000.
spend it.
Yeah, the 10,000, they're not even gonna come close, so. Yeah, same with the training, look at that,
Yeah.
$550.
Mhm.
I mean, if
Any
you,
other comments or questions on this? All right, let's move on to the big one, the Holiday Bar water system.
All right, so there are some changes to this one. I want to spend some time talking about those. The biggest is, of course, the two large revenue items on the first page of the budget, water sales and wastewater sales. Those are now modified to reflect the 12% rate increase that was discussed at the November budget workshop. So that's the biggest change. All the other changes are on the expense side and on the CIP sheets. We can go over those when we get to the revenue. But like I said, the biggest change and really the only major change on the revenue sheet was the sales update based on the 12% versus the 2.8 that we showed at the initial workshop.
I have a question on reimbursement from Fairpoint. That was $260-some thousand at the, 261 or something at the September meeting, but now it's 296,083, and that is the, okay, so help me understand.
Yeah, the 355,299 is the projection through the end of the year.
So they will give how did,
This is monthly, so how many of our staff runs Fairpoint? This is all the labor, mileage, any equipment charges we have. This is our charge to Fairpoint for what we do to run that system. They pay us for that. And it averages, so you can see what it averages about a month. $30-something thousand a month is what it usually averages in that ballpark.
okay, but in September, Fairpoint gave all the subsidiaries part of their seed money back at excess of $260,000.
That's correct.
Right, that's not to be confused with this line.
Nothing to do with that. This is purely operational cost being reimbursed.
Okay. But you understand my confusion when I saw the same number?
Yes,
Okay.
correct, because of the word reimbursement, right?
All right.
Any other questions on the revenue? I can run through some of these changes on the expense side of things. And
I'd like to point out the system capacity fees for wastewater are down quite a bit from last year. That kind of shows that, I think, kind of reinforces the fact that we need to go ahead and do that 12%.
It's just part of that
Right now,
demographic
yeah.
changes we talked about, of slowing, the system being developed and flat growth rate.
They're on the bad debt. How are we doing contacting those companies? They called me again yesterday wanting to know, did we want to talk with them about something? I sent that number and that contact up to you all. Are we kind of checking on all of those to see who's going to give us the best?
We're preparing a actual solicitation, so I'll present a schedule, a timeline at the December board meeting.
Okay.
But it'll take, we're going to put together a document. We're going to send that to at least 3 of those companies, probably at least the 2 you mentioned, plus the one in Fort Walton Beach that we've contacted.
Which is a great find.
Right, so there's 3 there, and they're not limited to that. But they'll probably have a month to put together a proposal and how they want to do it. So it'll take a little bit of time, but we're putting it together. So
Thank you. I'll just tell them you guys are doing your thing.
You know, get some crackers and eat them.
Oh, Al's gonna love that.
It's bad as fuel.
Right here. There you go.
All right, let's go through some of the minor changes we had on the expense side of things for this budget. First one on the, or that might be actually that was that on the revenue side, the reimbursement from Messi, we did make a minor change to that one. You'll notice that was 17,750. I think we just had an incorrect number. It was, and I think Director Reynolds had pointed that out to us. So we fixed that. So you'll notice that that's on the revenue side, reimbursement from Messi, we updated that number. Back on the expenses, on the admin, general and admin expenses, we have a update on the tax liability. The corporate tax item, it now, showing 108,741, so, for 2026. We updated that, as well as the 2025 projected, both those numbers changed. Insurance expense, which spend a lot of time talking about. I'm talking about property insurance here, or business insurance, whatever you want to call it. We actually got some little dialed in a little more on that number. Looks like we were able to lower that from 506,473. And that was based on, I guess just recalculated based on our most recent information. So better number there on insurance, and that was to our favor there. Let's see, the Springfield expenses in wastewater, right?
Yeah, that, I took that out of the Springfield expenses and moved that to contributions at the end of the year.
Yes, so we changed that. There was a line item called Springfield expenses, now it's called TCAC capital and operating contribution. It's on the third page of the budget at the bottom. It's in, I guess you call that a pink color, pink shaded. So we moved that there. And then just generally, I think the projected end of years are the October, we've updated another month of data. So we have a whole nother month of actual costs, so we've updated that column, we updated as well as throughout the entire budget. And that should be the majority of the expenses that were on the expense side that were modified for this version.
So that question that came from the Holly Navarre Water System member to me about the cost of water at the club at Hidden Creek, if the question was really the cost of the spray field, we take the 2026 proposed budget number there, 127,182 divided by 12, and that gives us the approximate monthly fee.
Are they asking how much the water system is spending out there? They're asking how much it costs to send the water. I'm not sure what the question
We're paying
is.
them. They're not paying us.
Right. We're paying them for having the privilege of the spray field there. Not the electricity, but the spray. If they're intending to ask about the spray field, that's where it's captured, correct? Okay, thank you.
It'd be nice if we could take that capital operating contribution and make it exactly what we're gonna spend this year. I know it's only like 8,000 more,
Oh, you're saying the 106 number?
the 114,
Make it the 106 number?
yeah,
Well, that's projected, but yeah, we actually would be under.
it'd be nice. I mean, I'm not gonna argue with that, I mean, because we're gonna still try to come under every year, and going forward like next year, things may change quite a bit.
Yeah, and that 114, David, was really just us approximating, I think, 60%, so it wasn't very that scientific. It was based on kind of a thought of when the Eagle project might come online and changing something there, so.
Hey, Mark, about 3 years ago, how much were we paying the club? It's over 300,000, wasn't it?
Well, it was 10,000 a month for I think a couple of years, and so that was well, it was more than that. It was
It was more than that.
Yeah,
It was like,
yeah. Well,
it was like 30, wasn't it?
yeah.
37 or something like that.
Yeah, a month.
A month.
And now we're getting it down to 10 a month.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's pretty impressive, I think.
Yeah.
That's something to be proud of.
Oh, it is.
Yeah.
Well, it all has to do with the golf operations out there being profitable. You
Yep.
know? I mean, we're not having to supplement it. So we're forecasting an overall net gain of 491, which is not quite 500,000 over what it was or what it will be this year. And we're raising the rates 12%, and the main reason is to, kind of make sure we can support aging infrastructure. What capital projects are we planning to do with that money?
So really it's the unrestricted projects, and we're showing about 3.3 million for 26. And even when you go in those out, if you want to skip ahead to the unrestricted budget, you skip ahead, you start getting out to 28, 29, 30. Those numbers are a little bit lower, but there's, honestly, there's probably some more projects that are gonna, kind of creep up between now and then. So, I would say that closer to 3 is more accurate what we need to be spending. That as you get out in 20, 29, 30, some of that stuff just hasn't been identified yet.
It would seem to me, layperson here, that aging infrastructure, we would know that there are more things that, from an operational standpoint, that are really need to be on this list before it's a aw shit kind of thing, and oh God, it's an emergency and we need to do a sole source, right?
And that's what the, author of the rate study pointed out, because he pretty much said you guys need to be spending $5 million a year to keep up with just the depreciation of the assets.
Yeah.
We're not doing that. We also haven't done a full-scale kind of asset management plan to really, you start replacing stuff at a certain age before it fails. A pump hits age 20, you start looking at replacing before you're waiting for it to fail. So the first place we'd like to do that is a wastewater plant. We talked about getting that plan going, and that's something we want to do in 26. So it'll get a little more strategic in terms of identifying projects as we move forward, for sure.
That's what I was wondering, do we have a, some kind of a list, master list, or any kind of files we could figure it out, like the oldest pipes that we got, where the oldest infrastructure is? You probably know.
Well, there are, it's not really a file, but there are maps, and
Okay.
all this stuff is put in at a certain time.
Okay.
Of course, the water system is much older than the sewer system is.
Yeah.
But the sewer system is more of a corrosive environment, so it ages worse. Classic example, some of the pipe we just replaced at the wastewater treatment plant, it was basically a ditch, one pipe anymore. But things like that we're slowly knocking out, identifying and knocking out.
Right.
Another good example, it's been on this list before, but we just can't find the money to do it, is relocation Highway 87 lift station. You're probably talking about a $5 or $6 million job right there.
Yeah.
Because 87 lift station, one is in a terrible location.
Is that the one up there by Advanced Auto Parts?
Yes, it is, yeah. And it's gonna take some, pipe work and all to get that somewhere else.
Yeah.
So we gotta, but yes, there are pieces that have been put in. Fortunately, our system ages, the underground stuff ages pretty good because it's PVC.
Mm-hmm.
We don't have a lot of ductile iron or any lead or anything in the system, so we can get by longer without having to replace things.
Yeah.
So.
All of that, those maps of all of those locations, is there anything that could be utilized to convert that into an inventory for repair and replacement plan? Or is that a manual?
That's what
So that's what we're talking about, the
That's what he's
asset
talking
management.
Yeah, the asset management plan.
Yeah, starting with the wastewater plant, because there's so many tanks and moving parts and pumps and motors there, and it's such a corrosive environment, that's the place we want to start and really get an assessment of what we need to be spending
Is
there.
that a totally manual process then to, okay, this is on a map, now I'm gonna put it in a database?
It's pretty manual, and it's something the staff at the plant would need to take on, just go through the whole plant and, this pump, when was it, when did we buy it? What make and model is it? What's the useful life? And just project it that way.
Plus
Current
that
condition.
software that we've been demoing has that.
Yeah, so we're looking at adding the feature that will have asset management as part of its software when we upgrade from this Edmunds thing. So we're still demoing a couple, so we don't have those selected yet, but that would be very helpful as well. Where essentially you would put all the assets into the software and it does some of that tracking and reporting for you, is what it would do. And whenever the work order is created, you're tracking the work done on that specific
that's
pump,
very
that
cool.
specific tank. It's all tracked and you know what's being done. So it's a lot more organized way to keep track of everything.
How many different softwares are y'all working with right now?
I'm doing 2 or 3 right now.
2 or 3?
Yeah, so we're probably going to end up with, a finance software, a billing software, and then an asset management / work order type that talks to both. And they all talk to each other, but
Okay.
so kind of 3.
And inventory it's all together too.
Inventory would go with the asset management software.
Yeah.
We build into the contract, if we don't like it, we get give it back.
We got to have better language than we did last time, that's for sure.
I don't think anything will be worse than what we got.
Mr. Dunaway will be reviewing that contract.
Yeah, what we got is pretty bad.
Well, then, our objective for 2026 is to start working on the wastewater treatment plant, some of its infrastructure.
I think even more than that, initially get a good asset management plan to know what we have, what are the oldest, things out there, and where we need to focus on, where we need to spend the
Right.
money first in an orderly fashion.
Yeah,
Because
I
it
think
is
that's,
aging.
yeah. I think we need to focus on that and start.
And we do have a couple projects identified for the plant in 26, but it's going to be something every year out there.
Yeah.
How long do you project it might take to create that database, that inventory from the maps?
I mean, it
6
depends.
months?
Yeah, I would
9
say
months?
6 months, especially if we're
Every bit of
going to, and that software probably won't even be operational in 6 months. So, it's at least that.
But-
And then that'll be ongoing, I mean.
Right.
Once it gets
Add-
set up.
You just
it'll
keep
be
adding
on-
to it, yeah.
Right.
It'll be a living document.
Right. But it gives you corporate memory.
Correct.
That's right.
Yeah.
I'm surprised it doesn't exist now, but it's a good objective.
Yeah.
I think the master plan that was done, that the actual, I think it's probably 10 years old now. So
Yeah.
it's just got a little stale, and it's time to update some of that stuff. Going back to the restricted sheet, I think that was just basically updating the project costs through October and the year. I don't think there's any major changes on the restricted side. that I recall.
Yes, that's correct.
Yeah, so not a lot of change there.
Any word about when the FDOT is gonna start in the water?
No. $1 million question.
That'll be a disaster.
Yeah, you see Gulf Breeze is a disaster. Some of those businesses went out, that people just wouldn't turn in the drive because you can't get to it. It's like,
DOT gives them way too much time to complete
They do,
projects like that.
absolutely,
It's
they
crazy.
That's been going on for years. And it was supposed to be a joint thing between us and Gulf Breeze. But Gulf Breeze just won't let them go, I guess. We can't get anything here.
We need it though.
Yeah,
That's
we
the
need
problem.
it. There's no doubt, that traffic's terrible over
It's
there.
horrible.
But in Gulf Breeze, I can't even tell which lane to get in with all
I
those.
know. But you're right, they take their time too. They take their sweet time.
That turn lane into Lowe's that they had blocked off and had traffic out in the main travel lane, I thought somebody's gonna get killed right
Yeah.
here.
Isn't that terrible?
But
Yeah.
I think they finally opened it, I think.
Yeah. It's just like going down to Hurlburt, and they got those two lanes that exit, but people try to exit and there's dead stopped in the right lane. And I'm surprised somebody hadn't gotten really hurt down there, because I've been that way a few times, and whoa, he stopped like that.
Right.
I did want to mention, do you have this?
Mikey didn't make
Do we
it
have
today.
it? Go. We already touched on that stuff. So, yeah, I wanted to touch on some of the averages. So if we go with this current proposal, I want to talk about, when I talk about an average bill, I'm talking about 5,000 gallons of usage. We have two main categories of members, water only, and then members that have water and wastewater. So if we go with the 12% rate increase, for the water-only customers who obviously don't have sewer or a septic tank, they're looking at about just under $4 a month, annually, about just under $47 in terms of an increase on their bill. And then water and wastewater customers look at a little bit over $10 a month, and annually about $126 on an annual increase. Currently, the average bill for our water and wastewater members, once again, for 5,000 gallons of usage is around $89 a month. And then our water-only customers, it's around just under $32 a month. So that's kind of how the numbers would shake out.
I think it's necessary. I mean, I don't see. Yeah, I feel it's necessary. The only thing I would hope is that going forward, the boards in the future are going to stick to this plan, and not try to keep bumping up the rates. If this turns out to be sufficient, which I mean, on paper it looked like it, right? But we don't know yet.
At least we have a document we can hold up that looked out that far and said you should be able to do this.
Yeah.
So.
Okay, Mr. Quigley, in case I get some questions, can you go over the last two lines up there to make sure I understand the intention of those two? The current average bill is $89.52.
So once again, so yes, this is for our member that uses 5,000 gallons of water a month. You'd be around $89.53 a month.
It's 5,000 the average.
Water
And wastewater and
and
sewer.
sewer.
And water and sewer customer, member.
That's the current average, so it's gonna increase.
It's gonna go up by that
by
amount.
about $10
That's correct.
a month.
And then the current bill,
That is our-
$31.74, that describes the sewer customer.
No, water
Just
only.
Water
only.
So if someone's on a septic tank and does not have sewer service, they have just our water, they would be paying, the average, if they use 5,000 gallons, they're paying about $32 a month.
Before the increase.
Well, four, that's why it's current, the current average bill.
Before the increase.
It
The
might be.
increase is less than $4 a month, $3.90.
It might be good to shoot the rest of the board members that little cheat sheet that you helped me with when we were talking about.
Oh, yeah.
The reason.
A little bullet points.
Yeah, because
that was
some of these
good.
guys are going to be getting
Yeah, they'll get questions. and
questions
stuff.
about it, and it's. I thought it was very helpful.
That would be helpful. And next year, could we get these documents with more lead time because we had a candidate forum this week, and some of us had meetings all day yesterday, and I did not give this the 8 to 10 to 15 hours I
Right.
think it deserves.
So this year we did, last year we only did the workshop in December. This year we did do two, we added the November workshop for that very reason. So, we can, it's hard for us, we start this process typically in late summer. So we can come up with something in the fall, early fall. We don't have a lot of clarity then, so it gets a lot clearer as you get closer to the end. But the answer is generally yes, we can. But I mean, I feel like this 2 workshop model works pretty good. If you're able to look at stuff, prepare for the November one, and then we, have another month to think about it. Any other questions? Come to the December one, and you still got 2 more weeks where we actually vote on something. So,
And last year was kind of an anomaly because we had just done that study.
oh, and he was
And-
just finishing the race study, like in
Just
October,
finished it
November,
the
and it was
month
all,
before we started talking about the
so,
budget.
yeah. Last year was rushed, that's for sure.
And there was a lot of, a lot of the board members, there was a lot of controversy about that, so. But yeah, I think so too. I think having 2 budget studies is probably better.
Before we close, I have 2 things I did not bring up on the CIP for the Club at Hidden Creek.
Okay.
In our initial budget workshop, December the 6th, underneath roof repair replacement, we had a $5,000 line item under the $50,000. That disappears on the documents tonight. And then the netting project, we had $300,000, and that comes down to $200,000 on tonight's documents. Could you address that?
We're not intending to do the netting project in 2026. We pushed that out to 27 and 28.
Okay, so you subtracted the 100 and moved it over to 2020.
Yeah, I would certainly.
Okay, gotcha.
Yeah, and then on the roofs also are shown in 28 and 29, and that's multiple buildings. So I think that's the cart barn in 28 and the clubhouse in 29 for the roof. I'm not sure what you were talking
That
about.
$5,000 line item that were in our earlier documents, underneath the 50,000.
Yeah, I'm not sure. Let me pull up last month. I'm not familiar with the $5,000 item you're talking about.
It didn't have an explanation to it, so I assumed it had to do with the roof.
Are you talking about the furniture, fixtures, and equipment above the roof?
No, it doesn't even have a line item with it.
She's saying there's no description.
Oh.
There's no description.
You're talking about this right here. You're talking about this $5,000 right here.
Yes, uh-huh.
Yeah, that doesn't have anything. I actually think that might have been a mistake that she corrected. I'll have to ask Kim. I'll confirm that with Kim.
And then I understand you moved 100,000 out of that 300,000 for the netting thing, and you split it in.
Netting shown as 200 total, split between 2 years. The item below it is 300. We do want to undertake that starting in 2026.
So the 300,000 became 200,000, and you moved the 100,000.
2027.
into
Yeah, I think that
2026.
the 300,000 for netting on the previous was incorrect because it doesn't add up to 300. It just shows $200,000. So the total in that blue column on the previous budget, the November draft, I think that $300,000 number is wrong. It should be 200,000. And it's been corrected.
The one below, the one below it that says 300, that should read 200.
No, bunker should be 300,000 total in the blue column. Netting should be $200,000 total in the blue column.
Okay.
Yeah.
They just overestimated in the previous.
I got it now, thank you.
That, 400,000 for bridge replacement in 2027, which bridge is that? Is that-
Pole number 3. That thing is a wooden bridge, and it's got some rotten support members.
Is that
And
part
they're
3?
worried about that.
No, it's a bar 4.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You hit
Yeah,
it over the creek,
it's a-
you tee
I'm
up.
usually in the woods, so
Yeah.
You
But
tee
you gotta
up right
drive
now.
over the bridge with it's the wooden planking, you drive over the bridge, the whole
Uh-huh.
thing's a wooden bridge, and it just doesn't last that long. We're worried we have to
Okay.
replace the
That's
whole
one
darn
across
thing.
the street, right? When you
Yeah,
go across-
when you're coming into Hidden
PGA.
Creek, you're teeing off on the left-hand side over there,
Uh-huh.
hitting over the creek,
Yeah,
and then your cart path goes over that wooden bridge.
yeah, I know which one you're talking about now.
Yeah, we're looking at a couple options there. One of the options is kind of rerouting the way you get to the hole there, going up on the right side possibly and doing like a culvert type structure. But that would require some wetlands permitting, so we're not sure we can do that. We're gonna talk to the regulatory agency. The problem with just, if you replace the bridge in its current location, you have to close that hole and close that course. So can we do temporary access? You know, if you come out on the road, we have the property, can you cut back between our property and that next homeowner and create a temporary path? So there's some things we gotta look at there.
Yeah.
There's also, you know, we may be able to kind of do some structural repairs and make it last another year or two, but we've already had to redo the landings on both sides where carts come on and
Yeah, I
off,
saw
that's
that,
where it
yeah.
kind of gets, so we've already thrown some money at it, so we know it's coming.
DEP would just let you put culverts in, it'd be the way to
They're
go.
gonna say that's a
Yeah.
pristine little river or something.
It's a swamp. It's nasty. It's swamp, that's what it is.
Yeah.
But I'm sure it's got a salamander in there somewhere.
Yeah, or some type of snail darter or something.
Careful now.
Salamander that no one's ever seen.
Some kind of crazy salamander.
You have the premier environmental attorney in the Northwest Florida if you need to permit something, but you are a company that preserves the natural habitat to the fullest extent.
Of course.
Well, that was God. Thanks, God.
I know, I forgot he was on there.
Especially
I was
if
like-
it is the reticulated flatwood salamander.
Those things are good fried.
Yeah, they're good eating. Good barbecue. Put them on my burger.
Tastes like cockaded woodpecker.
Tastes like chicken.
Red cocktail, you're getting under my skin now.
That's some turtle soup.
Careful.
I was gonna
You see
bring
if
out
those
those turtles, but then I thought I
pirates
better
get any more
not.
hot dogs.
That's right.
Clearly, I need to be there in person more often.
You learned your lesson by not attending in person.
I need reinforcements, Mr. Dunaway.
Will, maybe you don't need to go hunting with me.
Yeah, we need an updated board training soon.
Might be a totally different person out in the field, though. You take him out there.
What else? Anybody have any other questions?
Good.
Ken Ingram had signed up. Would you like to speak for us? You bet.
Ken Ingram, 2781 PGA Boulevard. This has been an interesting exercise for a member, since there's no ability to understand what's going on. Thank you for inviting the public, however. Will there be any information on the proposed budget available to the members before the January meeting?
Yeah, so what we did last year is the board directed us to put what we call a summary budget on the website, and we can do that if the board wants us to do that. We
I think
haven't
that'd be a
received
great
that
idea.
direction, but we'd gladly do that. It's gonna be a summary budget, it's not gonna be the detailed budget, but it will give you the information I think you'd wanna see, or a member would wanna see.
I doubt any member wants to know what each individual is paid. Well, I don't know if they have the right to know that either.
Right, well, no, that wouldn't be on there, but it's just, it's
But
a,
we certainly should know what the plans are and why we have a 12% increase and what the money will be spent for. And I didn't get any of that tonight, frankly. Not that it was a total waste of my time, but I can understand why I'm the only person here. Thank you.
Thank you,
How
Ken.
soon can we put the summary budget on the website?
so we have to condense it, right, and make it, so next week, middle of the week,
Tuesday, Wednesday?
Tuesday, Wednesday, timeframe.
Okay, by next week, we'll be able to have something on there?
That'd be great.
And I think that that would be a great precedent going forward, so that the public has something to reference, to be able to come to the meeting and participate and ask questions and things.
Yeah.
I mean, if that's really what we want, better communication with the community so that they understand our challenges. If they can't see them, they can't grasp them, and they can't reconcile what we're faced with here. And many heads are better than one. We don't necessarily have all the answers. We're doing the best we can, but there could be some other approaches out there, and we might hear them if they get some of the tools. To this point, no one's seen what we've been working in at all. We might have had some other attendees tonight had there been some documentation for them to review.
Well, I think, that's one of the reasons that I ran for the water board, is because I felt like there was no transparency with what was going on, the board making decisions. The members had no information until after the fact, so I think the more transparency that we can, the more things that we can make transparent, as it should be, the better for everyone in the community.
And I will add that they're hungry to hear from you all and us. And at that candidate forum on Tuesday night, I believe it was, the days are running together, it came out that they wanted to hear from Mr. Krigler. They wanted to hear from the staff members, and the public was begging for microphones at this table so that they could hear what is going on with their water system. So I feel obliged to convey that information. That they're asking to be able to hear you all and hear what information you have to impart. And when they're out in the audience, specifically, another comment came that if they're not at a meeting physically and they go online to hear it on YouTube, the audio is so bad they can't necessarily make out what's being said also. So that's some good feedback too. That means some of them are trying to find out how to participate, what's going on. They might not be able to be here because of work, but the audio on that, I believe it's a YouTube format, is it not?
It is, it's on YouTube.
Right.
Yeah, that was shared by all of the candidates, is that when you watch the video on YouTube, you can't hear the people at the table. You can hear the directors because we've got microphones, but you can't hear the people at the table. So that's something we can definitely try to improve on somehow, whether it's talk louder or put some microphones.
So is this just recording? That's not the microphone?
It's a microphone. That's a better microphone. This is an older microphone.
I would say we
That's a
could have just one microphone
Okay.
because there's only one person speaking at a time at the table, right? So
Right.
it could be like a little stand-up mic like that.
You
You
can get
could,
these with more extensions too, can't you?
Yes.
You could add more of those and probably put them kind of in front of everybody. It might filter it out quite a bit.
Yeah.
And that tells you that they're hungry for the information. They're hungry to hear the staff, and that's an open invitation. And then that allows them to, you want that buy-in And then the public, the members that own the system, can resonate with y'all's messages and your information.
Clint, we'll get you one of those.
Headset.
Earth to
No, that's good feedback.
All right, we ready to adjourn? Have a motion to adjourn?
So moved.
Have a second? Second. All in favor, say aye.